Hey Jen, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you, Heather?
Great. I'm so excited to have you here as a guest on the podcast, being able to dive into all things masterminds. How are you today?
Thanks. I'm doing so well, and I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you for asking me to come and join you.
Yeah, it's so cool because Jen and I's paths have crossed for the last several years. And at least from my perspective, I was like, something about this girl. I really just like her. And so I just ultimately began just connecting with you and following you on social and, having the mutual connections through
Mhm.
some, business programs that we've been in has been super fun. But over the last 6 months, I feel like we've had more of an opportunity to connect. And I'm really excited to be able to have you here so my audience can have an opportunity to get to know you. And we're going to be talking about one of your laser zones of genius, and that is masterminds.
Yeah, I'm so
So
excited.
so some of you guys might be saying, like, what are masterminds? We're going to cover that briefly, but what I want, like, the bulk of our conversation today to really be about, and really be able to get the expertise and the wisdom that you've got, Jen, to be able to like shed light on this, is why might somebody in business want to consider being in a mastermind, and really being able to say, there's such power in it. There's such a community that can be built, and really just trying to unpack that. So I know it can be complicated, but if you could, in your explanation, what would you communicate to our listening audience in case they're maybe just not familiar with what a mastermind is? Kind of give us like that 2 to 3 minute version of what a mastermind is.
Okay, absolutely. And I think that's good to do because there is a lot of confusion about masterminds because the word gets thrown around a lot. And I think the confusion comes into play because a lot of people in our circles use the word mastermind very loosely. And there's not a mastermind police out there, but in my mind, there is a general idea of what a mastermind is. And I'll say what it is, and then I'll say what it's not. But what it is, it's a group of people who come together who all have something to offer and they contribute to each other. So it's like having a peer advisory group, really. And, whether it's paid or unpaid, there's all the different types of masterminds. But in general, everyone at the table is giving to each other. So the way that it's often used in our industry, in it can like throw people off sometimes, is that they use the word mastermind when it's actually a group coaching program.
Mm.
So that's where people need to be buyer aware. when if you are actually looking for a mastermind, you need to know that what you're looking at actually is a traditional mastermind, in the sense that you're going to be put at a table where you're going to be expected to give and other people are going to give back to you, instead of just like one person giving to everybody.
That's really good. And I love that you even mentioned that, because we as potential consumers or people that are searching, are looking for masterminds, because there's so many different people that take that word and really use it, I'd say loosely, and not necessarily in correlation to what it actually is. It's really important for you to have a little bit more of an understanding as to what it is that you're ultimately like buying into, and what
Yes.
transformation that you're going to ultimately get out of it. So
Yes.
let's talk about masterminds the way that you like to run them, the way that you've seen them, and really just like, let's talk for a minute and settle in on really the power of a mastermind. And I am specifically really talking to all of you out there that are saying, I am interested in masterminds. I'm intrigued by masterminds. What's the big deal? What's the hype? Um, I believe that masterminds are wildly powerful, but Jen, why don't you share with us maybe like the top things that you would say that a mastermind is like really able to help with?
Okay, so when we're talking about the transformational benefits of a mastermind, there are really probably three things that stand out as the biggest transformations that you get. One is that you are getting objective feedback from a whole group of people. And when you're in a group of people versus just a one-on-one relationship, there's this broader sense of trusting what's being said as being the truth.
Mhm.
You know how like when you grow up and your mom says to you like, "Oh, hon, you look good. You look good. Don't worry about it." And you're like, "Ah, you're my mom. You're supposed to say that." Like it's different when you have a group of people giving you feedback on something. And so it's more powerful
Mm.
and it's more immediate. So it's just that immediacy and the number of people giving you feedback adds to its power. Second, the other transformational benefit is that you are getting a whole group of people's expertises and perspectives and experiences all in one sitting. And so, because typically, like in my mastermind, it's curated, so people need to apply. Not everybody gets in. So, I make sure that people who are coming to my mastermind have something to offer and are near the same level of business. Everybody has something very powerful to add. And so, when you share your issue with a group, you're getting a powerhouse of ideas who are there to refine whatever you're seeking input on.
Mm.
And that actually is a huge time saver because you're getting to learn from other people's experiences so that you don't have to go through all the experiences and time that they had, to get to that point.
Mm.
So it's a real time saver in that sense, but also it's a way to incorporate the real beauty of a mastermind. And the beauty of a mastermind is when that second level of ideas happen. So if
Mm.
you're bouncing an idea off of one person, you're getting one person's idea and you can think about it. But when you're in a group of people and everybody is contributing, what you hear somebody else say might spark a new idea in your mind. And that might spark another new idea in somebody else's mind that they wouldn't have thought of if they didn't hear your idea. And so that sparks a whole new level of ideas, which is called the mastermind. It's that third mind, in the room, in a sense, that wouldn't have existed if you were just talking with one person. So that's the true power of a mastermind, is when all these great ideas come together and spark new ideas for you.
I love it. And I feel that that segues perfectly into what I want to talk about next, which is the community piece. And
Yes.
I know that this is like an integral part of your business model. And so if you want to tell hypothetical scenarios based on what you've experienced, by all means, feel free. But let's talk about the value of community in
Yeah.
a mastermind. And
Yeah.
even if you might just even compare it to how might the community set that one could experience in a mastermind, how might that be different than, let's just say, a community of people that you know online that are in business? And what are your thoughts on that whole community vibe?
Oh my gosh, community is everything. And it's really the reason why I run masterminds, is because in my previous life, in my previous years, I was a licensed therapist. And so I've been able to see over the course of 25 years the power that groups have in a person's life over, like, just, being alone or one-on-one time. The power of a group, of having a community around you, is so powerful because you have that sense of belonging,
Mm.
and belonging is everything. So what you're referring to when you talk about, like, how is a mastermind different than maybe other relationships, as you're running your business? A mastermind first is a group that is there for you. It's loyal, especially a paid mastermind. There are people who do free masterminds, like get together with a group of their friends, and it's the rare group that does that can last forever, or who has that type of drive to always show up, because that is the backbone of a mastermind, is showing up. And so having everybody in the group, there so that you can develop that mastermind concept. But in a paid group, everybody is committed. they're committed to showing up. The investment is not only what they're paying, but it's their time and their energy to be there and to give and receive. And so my masterminds are really unique in that people show up, people are committed, and there's this loyalty to a group of people and to each other's success that you just don't get outside of a mastermind. You might have somebody who's really special and rare who shows up in your life as just a business friend and offers, some helpful advice to you. Like, hey, I've noticed you're taking this focus in your business, but your Instagram bio is not really showing it. Like, you might just want to, like
Right.
improve that, optimize it. And I mean, how often does that happen to us? Very rarely, right? But in a mastermind, this happens every day. We have the people in the mastermind are committed to each other's success. And so it's like in our group, you'll have like one woman reach out to another and say, hey, there's this other person who's doing something that might be a good collaboration for you. So you might want to connect with this person. And I actually happen to know her, so I can help you guys connect. Or, I think this type of reel might really help you, market your business. Or have you ever thought about really like offering this type of offer? Like the commitment to each other is so high that we're all showing up for each other all the time, and having somebody watch your back like that, like thinking somebody really smart out there actually has your best interest in mind, is mind blowing. So
Mm,
that level of support is mind blowing. The other aspect of community that comes into play is the success culture that a mastermind produces. So when you're in a group of other people who are all go-getters, high achievers, trying to make things work, you can't help but rise to that level because of your unconscious drive to belong. And
mm.
so it goes with that saying of a rising tide lifts all boats. So
Yes.
when your mastermind sister is succeeding, then you can't help but succeed too. And it also goes along with the quote that Jim Rohn says, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with,
Yes.
because of that sense of belonging. And so if you're in this culture of success where everybody around you is experiencing success from their efforts, success actually becomes easier to achieve. And it's just this unconscious, like, if she can do it, I can do it. If she's cheering me on, I believe in myself. And it just helps everybody to succeed even more. And I think it's why I get so many renewals every year. Like, people who are investing in my mastermind renew, and it's just because they feel that level of support that helps them achieve success without all the effort that it seems to
Mhm.
achieve it if you're alone.
Now, your mastermind model, you just referenced, people signing back up. Have you come to a place that it feels that there is a good length of time for a commitment for a mastermind by either trial and error or your expertise of saying, like, I've landed on something that feels like really like a good fit?
Oh, that is a good question. And I think that it depends on who you are and what your purpose is in the mastermind. So
Mhm.
I can give you my experience. For me, I think because I have a therapist background, I have a real yearning to see people through the thick and thin of transformation, because we know success is not a straight line. There's
Yes.
going to be highs, there's going to be lows. You're going to feel like, I can explode this business, to I want to chuck this business out the window, right? And everything in between. And so what I have found is, for me, because my goal is to bring people through a transformational experience where they can actually land on their feet at the end of the mastermind and feel like they know what they're doing. They feel confidence to get through the low times because they've gotten through it, with the support of the mastermind. So my own experience, I started out with a 3-month mastermind. And
Mm.
It was amazing. It was amazing. At the end of the 3 months, everybody was like, actually, at the end of the first month, everybody was unanimous, was like, I accomplished more in this first month than I did the entire last year,
Mm.
because they weren't used to having that level of support. So that was like mind blowing, right? But what I saw happen was the first month, there was that total high. The second month, I started to see people burn out a little bit and like, I can't keep this up. This level's, like it's anxiety provoking, and the therapist in me, all the the red lights are flashing, like we have to do something here. And so then I started to move my focus from just all achievement to achievement along with self-care. Like we
Mm.
can't burn ourselves out, right? So that is what that 3-month experience taught me. It was a great experience. If you're going to run a mastermind for the first time, 3 months is a real exciting thing to do, because people end the 3 months typically on a high for all the things they achieved. But I wanted to see people through the next phase. And so I thought, let's try a 6-month mastermind. And I did that. And that was actually a horrible experience, because what happens is I'm starting to see patterns, right? As a therapist, I'm always looking for patterns. And I think entrepreneurs are like that anyway. But what happened was people experienced this real high, at the end of the 3 months, they accomplished some really amazing things. And then they went to repeat it. And as we know, what often happens, especially if you're a launching type of business, your first launch is going to be so exciting because you already have this warm audience. The second launch is probably not going to go as well, because your audience that you brought in through the first launch is still cold. You maybe need to warm them up a little bit more. So the third or fourth launch is probably going to be way better than your second launch.
Hmm.
So it ended, that 6 months ended kind of at a low point for a lot of people, because they felt discouraged. And I felt discouraged because I could see from what I know with my experience in business that you need to get through this to do it again, to rinse and repeat, so that you can learn what you need to do to make it even better. But people felt like giving up on their businesses after that second launch. And it was just really discouraging to me. And I wanted to be able to see people through that. So then I changed my model to a year-long mastermind. And that was perfect. That was ideal in not only helping people to get through all the cycles of business and to be able to have the mastermind support while building resiliency,
Mm.
from the lows and the challenges, but they were able to see how when they stick in there and they have the support, that they're able to succeed again and, be on a path that's more encouraging and successful.
I love
So, yeah.
So, since it's my podcast, I get to ask you a question as we
Okay.
kind of close up that is like something that's on my mind. So,
Okay.
whether someone's like pursuing a mastermind, I think that everything that we've talked about would be wildly helpful for you to be wiser. And again, have an awareness that all people don't use that word. Even though they might use that word, they mean something very different. So be smart when you look to say, what is this offering? But when you are from the perspective of maybe considering having a mastermind and knowing the definition of kind of how you described it, if you're the person that's like, I want to lead a paid mastermind,
Mhm.
how do you wrap your brain around the idea of going, I am obviously doing a lot of facilitating and a lot of back end work that goes along with this that others that are in the mastermind aren't doing, but does that compensate enough for, quote, like whatever price point I've placed on this for this experience?
And again, this is going to be a personal preference. It's going to be based on what your business is set up to be, what your price points already are in your business, what type of people you have that you attract to your business, and what they're willing to spend both in time and financially. So you just that plays a part into I guess knowing yourself and knowing your
Mm.
business. But the whole aspect of the cost of anything or the investment in anything, as we know, is typically what is the transformation that people are going to get. It's not about time. You're not trading time for dollars.
Absolutely.
You're asking for a transformation. And so if you know that the person who's leading the mastermind is an expert, they're experienced, they know how to handle group dynamics, because entrepreneurs come in with all of their, strong personalities. It's important to be able to handle group dynamics really well so that everybody feels like they're being heard and they're getting what they want, from the mastermind. It takes a lot of strength as a leader to lead a good, productive group in that way.
Yes, I would say like the more that we're having this conversation, I'm going, how brilliant is it that Jen has a therapist background?
It
Because I
helps. It
can
helps.
really see it being wildly beneficial, to those that are inside of your community and in your mastermind. So here's what I would love, Jen. I know that we've talked a really small window of time about something I know you could talk about for hours, but I would love for you to take a minute, let everybody know where you love to hang out on social media, and then guide them to where they could come to either learn more about your masterminds or more as to what you're up to.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, I love to hang out on Instagram. So come find me on Instagram, DM me. I love having conversations with people. I'm super extroverted. I won't scare you, I promise. Most of my friends are introverts. But yeah, come reach out, say hi. Also on my website, jenargue.com, you can find everything you need there, how to apply to the mastermind. I also have a freebie of 8 questions to ask, so that you become a savvy buyer if you're looking at a mastermind to buy or to invest into. So you know what you're getting is actually a mastermind or not, if you actually want something a little bit more hybrid. So that's there for you as well. And I have all kinds of resources there. So my website or Instagram, I'd love to get to know you.
Awesome. I love it. And we're going to also have in our show notes for today's episode, all of those links so you can easily go and connect with Jen as well. So this is episode 242. So just go to sweetteasocialmarketing.com/episode 242, and you'll be able to easily go and get connected with Jen. And, as always, be social with us. Take a photo. What are you doing right now while you're listening? Don't take a photo if you're driving, but nonetheless, capture, in a quick little IG story or in a photo, how today's episode helped you or encourages you, and give us that feedback. We'd absolutely love to know. So here's how we wrap up each and every episode, Jen. We've got rapid fire, 5 questions.
Oh my gosh.
Don't think, you just say the very first thought that comes in your mind. I promise it's not scary. Are you ready?
Okay. Let's go.
Okay, beach or mountains?
Beach.
London or Vancouver?
Vancouver.
Favorite productivity tool?
Ooh, Trello.
Ooh, a good answer. One thing or one person that you would say thank you to helping you get where you are in your business today over the last 5 years?
Oh my goodness, that is a good one. James Wedmore, he was good.
He's solid. Okay,
Yeah.
last question. One thing you absolutely love doing when you're not working?
Oh, I love to just be lazy. I love, like, if I could choose, I would have a book and I'd be in my beach chair on the beach in the sunshine. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, fantastic. It's been so great. Jen Argue, you're amazing. I know that our audience is going to be so much smarter as it relates to masterminds. And, one of the things that we want, business owners that are out there that are wanting to do the best with the God-given gifts and talents that they have is to be wiser, have discernment. And sometimes that really means like elevating yourself and your skills and learning in areas that you may not necessarily be expert in. So we're hopeful that this helps our audience. But thank you so much, Jen, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Take care.
Take care.